Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Christina Michelle, Certified Master Confidence Coach and Hypnotherapist. And tonight I'm going to talk about 9 things to know about the love bombing stage. And this is really important because if you can catch a love bomb before you get too involved with somebody who's love bombing you, then you can prevent yourself from experiencing the heartache and the pain that comes from the devaluing and discarding phases later on. So I'm gonna talk about what happens in the love bomb, what the love bomb is, and then talk about how you can test to see if you are experiencing a love bomb situation right now. If, like, let's say that you just met somebody new and you feel like it's too good to be true, we're gonna talk about how you can figure that out. So I am going to start with a paragraph from an article in Psychology Today because I think that they beautifully summarize what the love bomb phase is all about. And it says, love bombing is the practice of overwhelming someone with signs of adoration and attraction. Think flattering comments, tokens of affection, or love notes on the mirror, kitchen table, or windshield, and you're beginning to get the picture. It's flowers delivered at work with hearts dotting the I's in your name. It's texts that increase in frequency as they increase in romantic fervor. It's surprise appearances designed to manipulate you into spending more time with the bomber and, not coincidentally, less time with others or on your own. So the thing about love bombing, with any type of bomb, a bomb is designed to shake you. Like, it's explosive and it rocks everything and disrupts everything around it. And the love bomb is the same thing. Like, it will shake you and rock you and it kicks up a whole lot of dust, but in a way that feels good, so you don't realize that it's actually something very toxic and something that is designed to, first of all, engage your emotions very quickly and make you fall for a narcissist very quickly, so that they can then basically start all the crap that follows a love bombing stage. So I have 9 things to know about this phase. And the first one is that a love bomber narcissist will bomb by ability. So what I mean is, the love bomb is going to look a little different depending on who's doing it. And it's going to be based on who they are, what they have access to, what they can afford. If there's somebody who doesn't have a whole lot of financial means, then the love bomb is going to show up in ways that are like just excessive attention, like a lot of phone calls, a lot of text messages. You're going to get that, not just the good morning, beautiful text, but it's going to be text like in the morning, in the mid-morning, in the afternoon, in the mid-afternoon, in the evening. And at some point, they're probably going to ask to see you. A lot of compliments and just a lot of admiration and attention, and it's excessive. And if you are not used to this, but it's something that you really want, and you have like a deficit inside yourself, then this is going to feel like water to a dry plant. And that's why having the relationship with yourself be healthy and be, it needs to be so tight that this type of excessive attention actually serves as a red flag for you. It shouldn't feel like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. Like, it should feel awkward. It should feel like, okay, no, this is a lot. Like, your radar needs to go up, but it's not going to do that if you are not at a place where you're healthy yet. So, yeah, that's what's going to happen if they don't have a lot of money. You're going to get a lot of attention. You might get flowers, and excessive amounts of time spent together. So the time has to be spent together because it's important early on to lock you in. It's hard to get somebody totally engaged in you if you're not spending a lot of time with them, or if you're only seeing them hit and miss. You know what? I just thought about this, but if you read the book, The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene, it is not about narcissistic personality disorder at all, but it actually outlines exactly what a narcissist does in the beginning to seduce the person that they have targeted. And what Robert Greene says in his book is that you can't seduce a busy person, right? And so, because a busy person is thinking about other things, they don't have time to be sitting around swooning, from your last text or flower delivery or whatever. And they don't have excessive amounts of time to spend with somebody like that. And so it's hard to get in with somebody who's busy and who has, a tight schedule, or who is very careful about who they allow in their space. So that's a good resource, reference book to read. But yeah, so that's my point, that they're going to want to spend a lot of time with you. And it's going to feel unnatural, like maybe even uncomfortable. If you feel that way, then you definitely need to pump the brakes. All right. If they are somebody who does have access to a little bit of cash, then you could see things all the way up to, plane tickets, like going on trips, like weekend getaways to wherever, cruises, like high-end restaurants and hotels and all kind of things. And there really is no limit. Like, they will do anything, stop at nothing to catch. I don't want to say they're prey, but that's basically what it is. They will do whatever they have to do to get you hooked and locked in. And Quinn Holiday, he has his page, ASSC Direct, and he said the tightest line, and I know I'm probably not going to quote this perfectly, but he said that the narcissist, the love bomb is the down payment on your compliance later. And that is absolutely true. Like, and they pay a hefty price. Like, they are going to do whatever they can, need to do or feel they need to do to lock you in early, because they are going to put you through hell later. And it's the intensity of the love bomb that gets you hooked, basically gets you addicted. And then you start to chase that high that you got in the love bombing stage, even when they start acting a fool and hurting you like crazy. Like, you are constantly going to remember the love bomb stage, and you're going to long for those days. And so that keeps you hanging on in hopes that you'll be able to recover that part of the relationship. So, let me see. Okay. Number 2, quick involvement. You can expect quick involvement. They push for a monopoly on your time, and they might push for or imply exclusivity, even to the point of quick marriage. And so they like to lock you in very fast. And I keep using the word lock because it does feel like you're stuck, like once you're in there, because then you start to have the emotional attachment, and then you start to try to rationalize, why you should continue to be with this individual or see this individual. And it does feel like you're stuck. But they will try to push for you to commit to them quickly, or they'll tell you that they're committed to you. And you might have only known each other for, 2 weeks or something like that. And they're already like, oh, you're, we're together. We're going to be together forever, whatever. All right. Number 3, they have a rescuer mentality. So they love to get you dependent on them for something. So they're gonna try to fill some void or meet some need. If you need a workout buddy, then they're gonna swear that they live in the gym, they live on the track, they live at the park, whatever. Like, they're gonna do whatever they have to do to show you that they can be the workout buddy that you need. You need a study buddy, a prayer partner, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, you mentioned like, oh, I wish I had somebody to do etc. with, or whatever. Like, they are Johnny on the spot. They're going to be there. They're going to do it because they want to be seen as the guy or the girl. I mean, women, there are women narcissists as well. All right. If you need housing or transportation, letting you borrow things, like, again, the sky is the limit. Like, they are going to do what they can do according to their resources. and they love to get you dependent on them, even if it's something small. Like it's like creating a habit and a cycle of familiarity and comfort, and feeling like, wow, this person really has my back. This person is really here for me. That's what they want you to think. All right, number 4, they will push for false intimacy early on. So you might hear things like, oh, you're my closest friend. I feel so close to you. I feel so safe with you. Or probably most often is, you're safe with me. And so they will try to make you feel like you can trust them, early on. And that kind of thing is something that is organically grown in a relationship, like not something that somebody announces. Like, hopefully that makes sense, but it's the kind of thing, and it because you feel it. Like, you'll be like, man, that's kind of a bold declaration for where we are in our relationship. Like, are you sure that, I'm your best friend, or I'm the closest, person that you have in your life? It's a strange thing. But every one of them that I've seen and that I've had experiences with, and from what I hear from my clients and their experiences, it's that false intimacy that makes you feel like you can trust them. Yeah. So that brings me to number 5. You're going to hear these words: you can trust me. All right. It might sound like I'm a very honest person, or I'll never lie to you. They might go out of their way to prove to you that they're telling the truth, at least at first. So this can look like if they're working late and, and they can't pick you up for your date, or they're not going to be able to meet you to do whatever you guys were supposed to be doing, or whatever the case is. And they might say, do you want to call my job and see that I'm here? Or you want to come by and so you know where I really am? Or, like trying to prove that they're telling the truth. And you might think like, oh, that's weird. Like, or you might think it's sweet. You might be like, oh, baby, that's so sweet. Like, no, you don't have to prove it. No, I trust you. Right. And so they'll do this for a while, and then you'll notice that they'll stop offering this, or you might not even notice, because now you just trust them. And what they've done is they've conditioned you by offering to prove that they're telling the truth, so that later when they start lying their behinds off, it buys them a lot of time, because you've already gotten in your mind that they're such a trustworthy person that it's going to take a while before you think to actually like check their stories. All right. So number 6, I've never met anyone like you. You're so much better than anyone I've ever been with. Where have you been all my life? All right. These are things that you are going to hear, or something like that. And you'll notice that they often put their exes down to build you up. And so they will compare you and say, my ex was nothing like you. She didn't have her stuff together, or she, wasn't as kind as you, or nobody's ever done anything for me. Nobody's ever bought me gifts. I've never had anything for my birthday. Nobody's ever been this thoughtful. Nobody ever asked me how I'm doing. That's something that I value and I appreciate in you. Stuff like that. You'll start to hear this like nobody's ever. And especially if you are an empathic person, or you are, a very caring and giving and nurturing person, then that will just melt your little heart and suck you right on in. And you might feel like, oh my gosh, like you've nobody's ever done good things for you before. Like, oh, boo, I got you. Stop. Don't. It's all a facade. It's foolishness. And when you see not just that, but you're looking for patterns, okay? It's, because anybody could really say that and be genuine. But when you see how they really like just play that up, when you start to feel your ego inflating and it feels good to hear that, then that needs to be a sign to you that they might be BSing you, basically, okay? All right, number 7, boundary pushing. So this goes back to the spending time together. They will push to spend way too much time together. They might want things too early in the relationship, like access to your home. They might want a key or a code to get in your gate. They might want to park in your garage if you have a double garage, and they're like, well, why don't I just park here since that side is empty? No, I don't know you like that. They might want to share bank accounts, share like gym memberships, even Costco membership, library card memberships, whatever. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. It's not funny. It's funny looking back, okay? But at the time, you don't realize that this is, it's too much too soon, okay? But if you notice that they are trying to encroach upon your personal space in a way that kind of makes you cringe a little bit, then that is a huge red flag. And especially if they are wanting to move in with you or they want you to move in with them. That happens a lot too. All right, number 8, future faking. So future faking is giving the illusion that you guys are going to be together way longer than they actually plan to be together. So they could be making long-term plans with you. You know, it could be April and they could be talking about what you guys are going to do for Christmas. And you're like, wow, like he's already thinking that far ahead. Like, and it could be future faking, talking about marriage, talking about, birthdays, plans. If they know that you've got goals and things like that, then they might paint this beautiful grand picture of helping you to accomplish this goal. And so you're like, you project yourself into the future and you're like, wow, that would be amazing. Like, oh my gosh, you think we could really do that together? So yeah, when you see somebody talking too soon, about too far into the future, that's a red flag. All right. And my last one, number 9 here. Now, this is just from my observation and my experience. I have not actually read this anywhere in my own research, and I've never heard anybody mention it, but I have noticed that the narcissists that I have had experience with, they all love kids, okay? Now, I know everybody loves kids, but I mean, this is like a natural love, like a weird, almost obsessive type of love. I think it's mostly fake. But my theory on this is that with children, children are easily deceived. And you don't have to do much to win their affection. And so I think that the love or affinity for children is, that they're a quick, ego booster. They're quick, to give you affection, and admiration and look up to you. The other side of that is that they, from what I've observed, they love that women will be like, oh my gosh, like, oh, he's so good with my child, or he's so good with his niece. Like if they don't have kids, then they might have a strange, I don't want to say obsession. It's not quite an obsession, but they might go over the top to talk about and show how much they care for their nieces or nephews or the kids in their life. And to me, it has always seemed to be very insincere, because if you really look at how they talk about other people, and the things that they really do, like when the kids really need something, a lot of times they're not there, and they're not there emotionally, but they'll be there to, give them gifts or to say, oh, well, no, I'm doing this for, my son or my daughter. And then come to find out the parent doesn't even see that person as that important in their child's life, right? But they're claiming them as somebody who's really important and how they're a huge part, play a huge role in the kid's life. And you're like, okay. For example, I many years ago was dating somebody who he told me he had a daughter when we first met, and I was like, oh, okay, and he told me that she was 5, and then come to find out, as we got to know each other more, it wasn't his biological daughter. He had met the little girl's mother when the baby, when the little girl was only maybe like a year old or something like that. And he kind of assumed the role of father without really being asked. And the woman that he was with at the time didn't really know how to set that boundary with him and be like, well, I don't want you to be that involved with my daughter's life like that. And so he kind of like, just pushed his way into that role. And then several years after they broke up, he was still talking about her like, like he saw her every day and like, this is my daughter, to the point where I think it was maybe her 6th birthday or something like that. And he and I were dating at that point, and he was like, oh, it's her birthday and let's go over to her house because nobody called me. I'm surprised that nobody told me when her birthday party was and all this stuff. And I was like, okay. And so he gets these balloons and all this stuff, and we go over there. And the family was actually having a party that he wasn't invited to. And, he was upset, and he was actually kind of embarrassed because I was seeing how all of the stuff that he was telling me about how he sees her all the time and everybody loves him and he's her father, like that wasn't the case, and he didn't expect that. And so I kind of got to peep what was going on with that relationship. And that was the first time that I saw it. I didn't think anything of it. But like I said, over the years and different experiences, that's something that I have picked up on, is that they might tend to cling to a relationship with children for one reason or another. So that's just my observation, just my philosophy on it, and something to look out for, particularly if it's not their child. I'm talking about kids that aren't actually their kids. Okay. All right. So I'm going a little bit long with this, but I just wanted to say a couple things here. How you can know, because you might not know that you were love bombed until you are in the devalue or discard phase. So how you can do a check early on. The first thing I'm going to say is to set boundaries, like early, like do not be accessible 4, 5, 6, 7 times a week. Okay. And if you've already started spending a lot of time with them, then just try a no. Like next time they're like, hey, are you free for dinner tonight or whatever? Try saying no when you would usually say yes, and see how they respond. See if they show up at your house anyway with dinner. Like, oh, well, since you couldn't go out, I thought I would just bring dinner in. That's a huge red flag of somebody who is a narcissist or somebody who's just a big boundary pusher. Either way, that's not good. Number 2, don't just listen to what they say, but actually watch what they do and watch look for how their life is playing out. Okay. Because they'll throw up a whole lot of like smoke in your face so that you can't really see what's happening beyond that smoke. Like, I think it's called like smoke and mirrors kind of thing, but they use a lot of optical illusions. And so they'll tell you all the things that they want you to know so that your attention is over here. But meanwhile, they're diverting your attention from what is happening over here. And so they'll tell you like, oh, I have a good job, and oh, I'm this, and oh, I'm that, da, 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 da. But what they might not tell you, or won't tell you actually, is that, their finances are a mess. Their housing situation is a hot mess. All their previous relationships are, crap because they burnt bridges. You might notice that they have very superficial friendships, and you're not going to pick up on that early in the relationship because you're spending so much time together that you're not really thinking about their social network. But ask about friendships. And if they say, well, I don't have a lot of friends and, all of that stuff, then that is a red flag too, because a grown man should have a healthy network. I'm not saying, that he's always surrounded by an entourage or going out with the fellas every night, but there should be, he should have friendships. There should be people in his life that he truly can call friends. And, listen to how he talks about his friendships. A lot of times they're limited and they're superficial. And so you want to pick up on that early. And my last thing, and there's so many things that I'll cover in another video because this one is getting long, but I'll stop here. The best thing that you can do is to listen to your body. Listen to your intuition. Like when you get that gut feeling, when you get that kind of like, you know, something seems a little bit off, you need to listen to that because it is a God-given gift. God doesn't just put us out there. It's not his will for us to be blindsided and tossed to and fro, you know, by manipulative, toxic people. There's always red flags and signs. The important thing is that we learn to recognize them. And when we do recognize them, that we listen to them. And there's nothing wrong with slowing down, you know, and just being like, you know, I need some time, or, you know, just pumping the brakes, because if it's meant to be, then it's going to be. If it's genuine, that person is going to be there and they're going to respect your need to take things slow. And that is the, you know, speed is the best friend of the narcissist in the love bombing stage. Like he wants fast. I keep saying he or she, but they want things to move very quickly because that's how you bomb somebody. That's how you get them shook up. But be willing to take things slow. You're not going to miss out on anything. And if it's right, it's only going to be better if you slow things down. So, all right, I'm going to stop there. And if you are interested in a one-on-one consultation with me for coaching or hypnotherapy, then go to my website, empressmentality.com/contact. And I will have a calendar there that you can jump on and we can schedule a consultation to talk about how I might be able to help you increase your confidence and self-esteem. And I think that's about it. So thank you. Thank you for listening to this video all the way through, and have a good rest of your night. Mwah. Bye.